We tell ourselves a very comforting story about the autonomous systems managing critical infrastructure. We ease our anxieties by repeating a familiar industry phrase: there will always be a human in the loop. The legacy tech industry treats this human presence as a design phase constraint. They picture an isolated QA tester sitting at a desk, reviewing a finished centralized AI product and clicking approve. These centralized products are built by supranational primes, planetary-scale organizations that aggregate massive pools of compute, silicon, energy, logistics, and capital. This top-down architecture operates on the assumption that reality is a static settlement state, that once an algorithm is perfected in the lab and deployed, the problem is solved. Reality does not happen in a sterile lab. It happens out on the physical edge, in our local watersheds, our municipal power grids, and our living communities. A lab-tested algorithm is rigid. A local ecosystem is living, breathing, and constantly evolving. What works perfectly for a municipal grid today breaks tomorrow when a severe storm hits, a supply chain fractures, or a law shifts. Resolving capacity is never a permanent settlement state. The environment continues its evolution, leaving static solutions behind. This structural mismatch means a centralized, one-dimensional product cannot resolve the multidimensional, living problems found at the local edge. To build resilient systems, technology architecture must align with the physics of living systems. We must shift the execution entirely to the localized edge. To survive, the edge must reject rigid, finished corporate products. Instead, it must pull down raw, unbundled capabilities. The localized edge requires three specific things to flow downward from the macro level: raw algorithmic compute, frictionless logistics, and clean megawatts. This creates a 1D exoskeleton, a structural delivery mechanism providing frictionless power directly to the local level without dictating how it must be used. This decentralized flow of raw power replaces the old habit of forcing a locked, single-purpose application onto an ecosystem. Stripping technology down to its raw capabilities empowers local ecosystems to engineer their own real-time solutions. This raw capability meets the 10-dimensional human swarm. These are complex human cohorts operating simultaneously across cyber, physical, social, and sovereign domains. When raw capability drops down, these human networks execute combinatorial recombination. They actively snap global compute and logistics directly into their specific local physical infrastructure. They integrate their unique sovereign laws and deep biological intent into the assembly process as it happens. This is a hyperactive, highly complex recombination process. It replaces the passive model of a single manager clicking approve on a dashboard. Centralized corporations lack the context to predict these hyper-specific, localized needs. Real-time assembly by the human swarm is the only viable architecture for solving wicked problems on the ground. Curious, dropping capability down to the edge marks the ignition of Phase 4 autopoietic recursion, a continuous living cycle. Compare this living, evolving loop against the dead-end, static design constraints of legacy tech models that break the moment variables change. We establish a new division of labor. The macrosystemic exoskeleton provides frictionless, raw capability, while the human swarm provides the continuous steering wheel. Because the goals of a living ecosystem are in constant motion, continuous human guidance synthesizing real-time local data is the absolute requirement to ensure technology serves reality. We must move past centralized products that force humans to act as manual shock absorbers for rigid algorithms. In this architecture, the human is the loop. True innovation means architecting systems that deliver raw capabilities to the edge, empowering localized human networks to continuously recombine them and sustain their own living, breathing future.